Welcome to the Life in Red podcast. This is a way of life that emphasizes positive sexuality, self-love, and confidence. On this journey, red is now your new color. Be courageous. Be passionate. Be sexy. And never stop living your best red life. So now I have one question for you. Are you ready to live your life in red? To join us on this journey, like and subscribe below.
Sometimes opening the relationship is not the answer, right? And so maybe it's, I want more passion, or I'm bored, or any number of things, right? Or I want to connect more. I want to just feel more, I love our life together. I love our home. I love our child. And I need deeper emotional connection.
So there's something in the relationship that needs to be worked on.
Right. And so if it's for some people who are, everything's great, I just would be interested in sex with other people when it's being put on the sex part. Yeah, I mean, there's no substitute for, you can't substitute sex with other people with something else, right? It's what it is. But however, if people are bored or they're not experiencing passion in their sexual relationship, there is a lot of wiggle room for people to grow and expand in their monogamous relationship, whether married or not, to bring more passion to the relationship, to get rid of the boredom, right? I mean, if people are bored in their relationship, I would wonder, what are you doing? And what would you like to be doing? And oftentimes, right, I don't know, this is just what we do, right? And I mean, I've worked with so many couples where that is the case. And I ask, what is on your sexual menu? And they say, and these are predominantly hetero couples, male-female identifying couples, and they say intercourse. And I'm like, what else? Anything else? No, not really. Well, no wonder you're bored.
Yeah,
that's boring. That's all you're doing. And particularly if the woman, for the women who, my partner, has an orgasm and then it ends, and I'm just like, hey, what about me? Yeah, that's boring. That's not motivating. Mm-hmm. And so, there's plenty of things people can do to ramp up their own sex lives that you don't have to go outside your relationship to get the passion and the fun and the novelty and the newness. All of that can also occur within an already existing relationship. It's a different focus, and it's a different type of energy and commitment to create it.
Yeah. I think I agree. I feel that when we get bored, it's like, I've talked to couples who are bored and things like that, and it's very similar stories. It's Missionary Wednesdays, maybe a BJ on your birthday, and when's the last time you got off, sweetie? He finishes too soon, and I just don't say anything because the kids need to get their teeth brushed. And I'm like,
so real.
When passion, okay, is the question I have is, do you want this? Is it a priority? And what are you willing to do to fix this? Mm-hmm. Like, do you want this? Yes. Well, we got to take action. It's not, bibbity bobbity pleasure.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm with you. And that's the thing. This person I was talking about, it was, the situation ended up being, I don't think it was a boredom thing for the partner. This person's testosterone levels were really low, mm-hmm, and didn't want to do testosterone treatment because, mm-hmm, of the side effects. And so it was one of those things. How important is sex to you? Right. And it is very important. Sexual being what's the word? Compatibility. Yeah. It's so I think I've heard so many couples too that are just like, we've been together 15, 20 years and it's just flatlined, and they're opening the doors. And I think it's good though that doors are opening. I know we're not going to talk about swingers, but that there's these different realms of ethical non-monogamy.
Right.
And I went to a kink event, interesting enough, and I met a woman. She's like, "Oh, this is my husband and this is my dom." And I was just like, how cool. It's just the spectrum is very interesting.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And you just said something that sparked a thought in my head.
Yeah.
Although now I'm forgetting it. So just keep talking. Maybe it'll come back to me.
So I start ranting because these conversations are so intriguing. Go.
You said, right, because we're not talking, we said we weren't going to necessarily dive into swingers per se, but what I was going to say is in the whether people have been together a long time or not, right? Just the umbrella, the spectrum of non-monogamy, right? That can be every now and again we have a threesome with somebody, to we're swinging and we're both present and with other partners like around at the same time. Or we have girlfriends, boyfriends, other partners in some doms, subs, up to, those who tend to identify more as poly, where this is my primary partner, this is my secondary partner, they might have a tertiary partner. And for some, it's hierarchically all the same. I'm married to this person, we have a kid, but also I have this other partner, one other partner, or three other partners, and they're all in different cities. And this one I see once a month, and that person I see quarterly, and that person we go on one vacation a year. And I worked with someone who had probably 4 partners and was married to one, but they were living in different states, and then had another partner that was living with them and had 2 other partners in other cities. And they all saw each other when they could, it's just like a scheduling smorgasbord. I once read, I don't know if it was a meme or something, but it said something like about poly people having like a scheduling fetish. And I thought it was so funny, because one doesn't have to be poly for this, but once you open up your relationship in any way, shape, or form, you're now dealing with other people and busy lives and schedules, and when are we going to see the people we're seeing, and when are we going to schedule our time together to make sure our OG relationship, right, is still getting attention and dates and the love that it needs to stay strong, so we can go out and explore these additional things.
Well, that's the thing. I like, for me personally, if I found out my partner was bored with me, it'd be a no-go. That I couldn't, we'd have to have our relationship solid, where for me, it would have to be passionate. And but there's been this idea of like, oh, I got Jim over here, Barbara over here. And but that I think a lot of people think that it's not work still. Like, you have relationships oftentimes, not always. Sometimes it's, but that's the one thing I've heard a lot of people say they didn't want to do it. And it was mainly because they felt like having to juggle the emotions of multiple people and that responsibility. They don't have the schedule fetish, so, but I think a lot of people have a lot of love to give, and they can do that.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And it's not that I have 17 partners with whom I'm just rotating through having sex with, like boom, 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 boom. And I think that's what a lot of people think of.
Yeah.
It's like some image that comes to mind when they think of polyamory or even non-monogamy. Oh, you're always with other people all the time and you're always having and yeah, sure. Are there people who are doing that? Surely. But more often it's, I'm interested in connecting with people. And yes, sex is often part of that, right? But that's not the only thing that it's about exclusively, for everybody. That's not the case, right? And so,
that's cool.
Right, it's about, connection. It's, you have 3 partners and they all have kids, you're going to learn all of their names and maybe their birthdays, right? And what are they up to, right? And it's an expansion, right? And exactly as you said, some people have just an abundance of love to give and want to receive an abundance of love and are lead from a place of an abundance mindset. And it's not the scarcity of, oh, it's not enough, or I'm going to run out, or if you love someone else, you're not going to love me. Right?
Well, that's interesting. You mentioned scarcity. Here's another playing devil's advocate. If someone said, "Okay," because I've dated multiple people at once, I quite enjoy it because if I my husband actually died, so I'm a widow, and because of that, I had an abandonment wounding, rug was pulled kind of thing that I've had to really work hard at. So when I would date, I call it my magic 3. I had 3 that I would put all my time into, and I really enjoyed it. But what I noticed when I reflected within self, I was like, I don't get anxious if one calls me or doesn't, because I know I have a backup in case this one decides to bail. So they all end up liking me more because I'm being secure, more of a secure attachment style because of my wounding. And for one who's trying to face that wounding and not band-aid it, would you recommend them to keep doing the healing work, or just be what it is? Date those people. It helps you not feel like you have all your eggs in one basket. Like, what do you think?
Yes, and like
I love it. There we go. There
right?
it is.
And I think that for anyone, which is most people who've experienced wounding, emotional or attachment wounding or relational wounding, there's work to do. There's healing to do. And I think that's always going to be a great choice to journey down some path to do the healing work, period, no matter what. Additionally, yeah, if that's where someone is in their journey and their heart is where their heart is, and I'm not ready for this, or I'm only ready for this, I'm not ready for that. And, you know, dating multiple people, first of all, and like dating in general is actually designed to be non-monogamous.
Yeah.
Right? Like some people are serial monogamous and I only date one person at a time.
Right.
But I mean, for everyone who's on a dating app, most people are interfacing with more than one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And whoever, someone's interfacing with us and they're interfacing with other people too. Right? And so people might be looking for their one person, but the process is multiple people. Right.
I think it gives you, maybe that's a good test to see if you could do non-monogamy. If that is something you would like, is to be intentional in your dating. If you want to be complicated like me, I like to be intentional. I'm always challenging myself. I'm like, okay, how do I like this? I got feelings for Bob, for Dan, for Katie. I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm able to give the attention that I feel proud of, that I'm willing to give based on my life. And I'm growing, strong feelings for all these people. How do I feel about that? I noticed in my past, I was a serial monogamous. Then I wasn't. I enjoyed that a lot because I was a lot less afraid. And I wasn't getting obsessive about things. But there eventually came a time 6 months after I was rolling 3 people that I met one that then I knew at that time, okay, I'm not even interested in any of these other ones. So it's very interesting. I think I try to put things in boxes like many of you out there, and it's like, go with the flow.
Yeah, I think, again, sort of connected to what we were talking about earlier in terms of having a menu of options, right? Again, people have we've all received our own messaging of even how to date. How many people is it okay to date? What does it mean if I'm dating X number of people versus some other number? What should I be? What's the purpose of dating? Oh, I'm dating to find one person. Maybe. It just depends what you want. And whatever you want, like, how do we help it get to be okay? Right? And so,
I love that.
and, so if someone is dating multiple people and then you meet someone that you like better than all the rest, awesome. Good for you. Great for the connection. Is that the goal? Well, if that's your personal goal, cool. Right.
No. And for me, it was not the goal. I was riding high. I was like, this is great. Got Wednesday, Monday, got my friend. Now the season's a life change. I'm doing this podcast
Mm-hmm.
24/7, it feels like, and it's amazing. It's my passion, but we just started. So I have about 5 people, and I'm just like, I don't have the time. So
Mm-hmm.
see, you change. You're like,
Right.
okay,
Exactly.
one would be good right now, maybe two, and that are
Mhm.
really busy.
Absolutely. And because it sounds like you've already not boxed yourself and accept that this is what works for me, this is what feels in alignment with me, then you can actually flow in and out of what works for you more smoothly, right? Without
Mm,
the resistance or the guilt or the shame or any of the other things that can come up that get in our way, right?
perfect.
And it's this is what works for me right now. I do love the idea though of, you know, for folks who, particularly for folks who are not in committed relationships and who are on dating apps, of if they know, oh, this is something I'm interested in, or I would love to see how it feels to have multiple partners, right? Could I do it? Am I designed for this? Am I capable of it? Do I even want this? Right?
Mm.
That to me feels like a lower stakes venue to try it out,
To experiment, and you
right?
can,
And
yeah,
and including, I mean, now, apps didn't always have options for ethical non-monogamy as one of your choices, and
I
now it
know
does, right?
it
And
does.
so, and I'm sure not all apps do based on whatever the apps are, but the ones that do will draw people who might check that box as an option.
Well, see, that's great. And so I don't leave the viewers hanging. If you are a couple out there, if you yourself are dealing with shame, have one eye open, you're like, maybe I want this, but just for the season I'm at now, but it could change. I may not change, but I need help with this.
Mm.
Where could they find you?
Yeah. So they can find me on my website is the easiest place, which is my name, kylablack.com, or westchestersextherapy.com. I'm in New York. And
New York.
New York, yes, New York. Um, and there are many, many therapists, sex therapists in particular, who are really well versed and open and welcoming. And I mean, all therapists, in my opinion, should be non-judgmental no matter what their expertise is, but
Yeah.
they're still human. We're all still human, and so people still come with their own biases or judgments or religious backgrounds or whatnot. And so, for those who are exploring or worried or what have you, you want to interview your own therapist potentially to make sure that they're comfortable with what you want to talk about, so you don't have to worry about them, because it's for you to get support. And you can also go to the AASECT, AASECT.org website, and that's the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. And for people who want someone in their state, there's a directory where you can pick the states. There's also some international on the AASECT directory. It's an international organization, so there are also folks who
They're
practice outside
everywhere.
the US. Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking the website out. I was like, I would love, like, my therapist, if I had a sex therapist right now, like some guy in Australia, because I'm in my hormonal phase. I'm super horny all the time. I'm like, Australian, sex therapist, 6'4". Nah, I'm kidding. Guys, like
You want to date that person, or you want them to be your therapist?
I mean, it's like role playing. I still pay him. Is that a form of sex working? I don't know. But
No,
anyway,
but ethics may be part of that conversation. So,
dang it.
not shitting on your parade, just throwing that.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that, Brittany. Don't you guys even think about
But if
that?
you want to date someone and not hire them as your therapist, that's a different story.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Um, well, thank you so much, Kyla. And I will have all this information that Kyla just mentioned below, so you don't have to remember it. I know I couldn't. No frontal lobe memory. Um, but I will list it below. Kyla, thank you so much for being on. You guys, she's amazing. Check her out. Look at her work. You are not alone in this. If you are struggling with anything, I know you could feel this when we were talking to her. You're accepted. You're accepted where you're at right now with your woundings, with your fears. It's not about fixing. It's not about changing. It's about accepting and being where you're at and exploring and communicating with your partner. Thank you so much, Kyla. And I look forward to hear what you do in the future, and keep healing and helping. And it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And thanks to all those who are tuning in. And just being true to yourself and finding the love for yourself first and foremost.
It's beautiful. All right, guys, keep it red, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for joining the Life in Red today, where we embrace passion, confidence, and positive sexuality. Keep painting your journey in bold red strokes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us so that you never miss out on living your best red life. Ready for more? Stay passionate, stay red. See you next episode.